use at Disney World anymore, but I can sure as hell use it on my show, at least for the time being. Well, I'm allowed to stay here by our gracious hosts. Anyway, it's early Saturday morning, and if you're just getting back from the bar, which I hope you are, and I hope you had a great time out there, and I hope you didn't drink and drive or drive and drink. Neither one's good. Take a taxi. Anyway, I'm going to bring us in. We got a kind of a haberdashery going on here tonight. Not like we usually don't anyhow. I don't know why that stupid thing keeps going off. I just need to turn my damn phone off. Let's just turn this piece of it. I've tried to turn off every single stupid notification that I have, and it still goes ding. Anyway, I'm going to bring us in with a song from my boys, the Brothers Gow. And in the description, I got a shout out to every one of those cats that I know. We go all the way from Kyle, Ethan, Big Nate to Alex Gow, Alex Mellow, Matt Collier, the light man, the dude out, hopefully, I don't know. Matt, hopefully you're well, brother. I think you're still out running around with Spafford. I'll catch you at a show. Anyways, I'm just going to bring us in with a little music for a little bit, and then I'm going to get back to it in just a second. But you'll see how this song plays into what we're going to talk about. And I want to say this evening, but it's actually this morning. So off we go to the races, if I can manage to figure this out. Brothers Gow from their Live at Ocean Beach album. Check them out. They're done now, but you know what I mean? All right, that's a good place to take us out for now. I'll bring us into the jam later. Okay. Like I said, that was Brothers Gow. They don't play together anymore, but you can check out Kyle Merrill still playing at Kyle Merrill Music on YouTube. Badass dude. You know, he did a lot of stuff out of his home during the whole COVID thing out of San Diego. Anyway, hope all the rest of you fellas out there are doing well. Hope everybody out there is doing well. All of you, everybody, every last one of you. I don't even care if you're Joe Biden, because honestly, I mean, let's get down to it. I mean, I don't wish ill upon that man or the administration. I mean, around here, I mean, I do want to see the best of in everybody, the best of everything. I don't get off on seeing failure. But we do have to call it out when we see it, and when we see it repeatedly, and when we see that it's something that can be avoidable. It's our duty to say something. It's our duty to speak out, and it's our duty to recognize when things aren't right. You know, things ain't been right in Mayberry in a long time. I don't know if they ever have been. Truth be told, I think there's a lot of things that we got to address. And basically what we got is, I was just doing a little research about this tonight. We got at the average life, you got 3 billion heartbeats. Think about that. We look at billionaires, right? We look at a guy like Elon Musk, who's been all over the news because now he's a 9.2% shareholder in Twitter. And he's going to be the first trillionaire. You only think about that. You only get 3 billion heartbeats in the average lifespan, right? Something more, something less. That's average, right? It's a median number. So you think about somebody that's got more dollars than that, right? $3 billion, that's $1 per beat of your heart for your entire life. $3 billion. He's got, 330, well, now they do that based on assets and shit as well. And that's fine. The dude, hey, he did that the cyber rodeo tonight. I don't know if anybody checked that out. I watched a little bit of some of the goings on, but I can only take so many of these Tesla dudes out there that are just, they're about ready to shoot off a knuckle child in their pants when they're watching this shit, because they get so, they just want to, get up there with Elon so bad, I mean, now they're just yocking him, Don't forget to cup the balls, boys. Don't forget to cup the balls. Anyway, looks like I'm getting some drop frames here. I hope let's hit the reset button here and see if we can, hopefully that drops. Hopefully that just came from playing this. Usually happens when I got the YouTube on. I hate having that drop frame shit. And I know I've put plenty of this stuff out there to you guys that's been dropped and fucked up and weird, and I'm sorry for that. Not really. I mean, I kind of am. But hey, nobody else is doing it, so I invite anybody to come in here and hey, you can take over the controls if you want. In fact, you can come over here and run them for me. Then I can just run my neck, because it's not easy to sit here and run your neck and do all this and try and keep everything right. Anyway, so I just thought I'd bring that up. I thought that was an interesting statistic. The 3 billion heartbeats in life. So you got to think about this, right? I mean, people, we're so scared of death, right? I mean, that was the big thing with the pandemic, was the death rate, right? But it turned out to be, you don't want to see death at all. You don't want to see what we've been seeing going on in Ukraine. And you don't want to see it I don't care. I don't want to see it on the side of the Ukrainian people or the Russian people. Because quite frankly, seeing what they did in Bucha the other day, that was disturbing. When you see civilians with their hands tied behind their back and bullet holes in their head, and these are people that are just out on the street. It'd be like you and me walking out on the street. Now, we don't do it so much here in Coyote, Wyoming, because quite frankly, after 9 o'clock, if you go out, you're pretty much, you're going to get chased around by the police. If you're out after 9 o'clock, you're looked at like you're a fucking criminal. You go to the grocery store. Shit. You can't even get a bite to eat in this town after 9 o'clock at night. So any of y'all that come visit here, bring groceries, because you can't go to Albertsons after 10 and Walmart closes at 11. And there's no restaurants open. I think you can get Domino's pizza. You used to be able to get it till midnight. I don't even know what it is now. Do your shopping early around this town, because this piece used to rock and roll till 2 a.m. We used to have a 24-hour diner, at least one. Sometimes there were some other places. You used to be able to go to at least Wendy's or McDonald's. Everything is shut down. And when people start shutting down early, it's kind of like when prices rise, right? Like, you don't typically see them go back down, which we'll get into that here in a little while about prices rising. But there's really no reason for us. Getting back to this 3 billion heartbeats. That's all we have, okay? We've got 3 billion heartbeats. If we're lucky, that's an average, okay? So when we make decisions that are metered out in this cautionary fashion, right? Like I look at this in my own life. Like, why did I not decide to do what I'm doing now before this? I erred on the side. I didn't want to take a chance. I didn't want to take a risk. Well, I'm good at pounding nails and being it's all I knew. It's, the familiar, we get used to what's familiar to us. We get comfortable, we get complacent, and we're all guilty of it. I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of it at all. I've been guilty of it my entire life. I'm trying not to be anymore. But why not take that chance? Why not go out there and be reckless? Who cares? You're going to die. Okay. And people are going to, oh, he said, yeah, you're going to die. I'm going to die. The only thing that we most sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, have in common, and I don't care who you are out there watching or listening, the one thing, if I don't know you, the one thing that you and I have in common is that we are both going to die. We are going to leave this rental car, right? We're going to leave the rental car. And that's all this is. It's a rental car. We're rolling around in a rental car. We are consciousness, we're energy, we're light, and we're a rental car. So I don't hesitate to put tattoos on myself. I don't care. It's like Hunter S. Thompson said, you want to take that son of a bitch in and skid out sideways and leave it in a smoldering pile of junk heap on fire. Jump out of that fucker and cross the finish line. Not leave one thing out there on the table. Don't leave anything on the table. That's what I was saying the other day, on the first Monday morning show that I did this last week. And also I challenged everybody to go out there and do something different. Do something that you wanted to do. Anything that you've wanted to do. I don't care what it is. You know what you've wanted to do. You just sit there. Don't tell me that any of you haven't had a night where you're sitting there laying in bed and you're sitting there thinking, God, if I could only, or if I had only. I was sitting here having this conversation with Tyler the other night. We're talking about it, and I'm watching some stuff from San Diego. I love San Diego. It's one of my favorite cities. And I had an offer to go play baseball there when I was in college, and just an amazing facility, just a beautiful area. And because I was comfortable where I was at, because I was, with this person that I was, going to marry at 22 years old like an idiot, I'm like, oh no, when the coach approaches me, he's not even supposed to talk to me after the game. We play them. Game gets over. He comes up and offers me basically to come play there the next year. And tells me I'm not supposed to talk to you, but I'd like you to come down here. And I'm like, well, I'm going to stay where I'm at. And he kind of looked at me sideways and just walked off, like there's another dumbass kid, but I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Things wouldn't work out the way they have. And, hey, maybe in an alternate universe, whatever. You can't sweat the petty. You can only pet the sweaty. And that's a farmer quote. So I got to give credit where credit's due. But, no, seriously though, we don't have a lot of this life. We're all going to die. It's going to be over before we know it. And what do you have to lose? When you sit there and you play conservatively, I'm not talking about having like conservative values. Whatever. Values are values. Morals are morals. To sit there and put a label on, we know what's wrong and right. Do we not? We know what's wrong and right. I think we all do. Most everybody I know knows the difference between wrong and right. And those who don't are your sociopaths and your psychopaths. And you're going to have them. They make up a small percentage of the population. The people who don't know the difference between wrong and right are the ones that are calling the shots, is what I see. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think that you and I, we all know the difference between wrong and right. We know when we get over on somebody that we shouldn't have, and hopefully we can go and make it right. I've been in that position. I've done that before and had to go back and say, hey, man, hey, I'm sorry. I fucked you off. Let me make it right. And I've done that to the best of my ability. And I tried, and I really honestly try not to do that anymore, period. I hope I don't. If I am, then somebody let me know. But I really try to be right by everybody. You know what I mean? But that's what growing and learning is all about. So, and I was listening to some people talking about having like out of body experiences, right? And I don't know if anybody's ever had that happen. I had it happen to me when I got COVID for the first time. And it was weird. it was weird because I was literally looking down on myself. Like I floated away. And over the number of years, I've had this thought that because it's just me and Jax, that, you know, it's like nothing can happen to me, right? Like he doesn't have anybody else, right? Like his mom's gone, his uncle's gone, like he's got grandparents, but they're getting older, and I've always and so I've made decisions in my life about what I'm doing when I've had people ask me to go do stuff that might be kind of risky, things that, you know, I'm always looking at that, and I've made decisions based on like the fear of like I can't leave him, right? Like it changes the way you look at things when there's a person that's dependent upon you and they don't have anybody else, right? It changes the way you approach things. I mean, I used to be, those of you that know me, I used to be a little bit reckless. You say me? No, yeah, yeah, believe it or not. Believe it or not, you know, things used to get a little sideways and shaky sometimes. But, you know, I found myself, you know, turning down invitations to do this and that and the other thing because it's like there's something more important than me, number one. And then it's just like, what would I mean, but what happened at that night when I had the COVID, right? I wasn't breathing and I didn't even realize it. Okay, those of you, only again to use that phrase, you know, I used to smoke. I smoke a lot of cigarettes and I used to smoke a lot of pot. I don't do either anymore and haven't for, I haven't had a cigarette in almost 5 years now. And the pot's been probably longer than that, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm not counting. I just don't do it anymore. I don't like it. And I feel like it's pointless. So when I got the vid, when I got the whatever you want to call it, the Rona, I didn't even, the only thing I knew was I was fatigued. Like I was just in bed. I couldn't move. And apparently I wasn't breathing. And I remember just leaving. I left my body. I'm looking down at my body. I'm looking down at myself laying there in my bed, you know. I was sitting there just, you know, big old California king. And I remember thinking, oh, this is it. And then I had this peace come over me, like everything was going to be okay for my son. Like everything was going to be all right. I was like, this is what it is. Okay. There was no fear, no panic, no nothing like that. It was just, and then I looked down and the person that was sitting there with me is pounding on my chest, yelling at me to breathe. And then there was something that went through my head that was like, you're not breathing, dude. And I came back and it was just like instantly sucked back in, eyes pop open, you know. She's crying, yelling at me that I have to breathe. I'm like, I'm fine. I've been breathing. You know, it was like I didn't skip a beat. And then from that point on, I was just like, I was better. I was able to get up and go to the restroom, which I had a hard time even getting like the 7-8 feet to get to the bathroom door. But at that moment, I realized that there's nothing really to be afraid of. So we've implemented these religions and these things that we do. You know, people justify what they do throughout their life based on, you know, the eternal life. I mean, does heaven sound good to you? I mean, hell don't sound that good either, but what do you do when you go to heaven? I mean, I have this imagery of, you know, everybody always goes, oh, well, you know, at somebody's memorial or funeral, he's in a better place. She's in a better place. Then what are we all sitting around crying for? If they're in a better place, then, I mean, shit, shouldn't we be in a hurry to get there? It's what we tell ourselves, right? To make ourselves feel better. Because we're the ones that have been left behind and we don't know the answer to the question. I mean, as human beings, it's human nature is like we do not do well with questions we don't have answers for. And so we manufacture answers. We manufacture heaven and hell. Now, if there is an all-knowing, all-loving God, I'm not saying that there's not a force out there that's greater than us. There obviously has got to be some sort of a force out there that's maybe you call it a higher power, whatever. I do not honestly believe, and beliefs are stupid anyways, but I don't think that I can just say that this is all just circumstantial. I mean, either one, we're in a simulation, which I lean closer to almost on a daily basis, because none of it makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense. We're either in a simulation, we're in an experiment, and we're some sort of, maybe we're the aliens. That's what I brought up to tonight. Half of me. There we go. Camera on, camera off. We're so smart, and I can't even figure out how to keep that camera from doing it. Apparently what happens is it's got some kind of internal mechanism, and it says it gets too hot, and then that's how it shuts. That's how it cools down. It turns off for 5 seconds. That's what you do when you overheat your truck, right? Right, fellas? You just pull right off the road, shut her down, 5 seconds, fire her back up, give her tail lights. Yeah, no. Maybe one of these days I can afford one of those cameras. But for now, that's what we're stuck with. I'm fine with it. It works. But anyways, I'm just sitting there thinking about the existential crisis, the conundrum of this existence, what's really going on, why we get so wound up about this stuff. I get wound up about it because, quite frankly, what really upsets me about the political system and these people that do nothing but chase money, what really, at the bottom end of it, right? I'm sitting there thinking about this earlier today. Excuse me. I'm out there riding my bike. Not my bicycle, my dirt bike. I don't ride a bicycle. You won't see. I'm a grown man. I don't need to go out there and. For those of you to do, good, awesome, more power to you. Not me. I'm gonna go out there and brap. I want to get someplace. So anyway, I'm out there tearing through the mud, and just thinking about these things. You know, and I'm thinking about, why do I get so wound up about this stuff? Well, the thing that pisses me off is because I see what it does, and it steals the joy from everybody else. And it doesn't affect the people that are making these calls, the people that are making these choices. It doesn't affect them. So they're making a decision that's going to affect the rest of our well-being. Now, why are we consequential? Why are we just, throwaway people? You know what I mean? I don't think there's anybody on this planet that should be considered a throwaway person. We look at people in third world countries. We look at people from places where we're not from. We look at people south of the border. We look at other people as inferior to us. Well, nobody's inferior. Everybody goes through the same thing. I don't care what language you speak. I don't care about your level of education. I don't care about where you're from. I don't care about how you came up. It doesn't matter. Everybody has the same type of thoughts, goes through the same type of thing. And then we somehow let this select few group of people, right? We just give them the reins and say, you guys make the call. You're smarter than us. I mean, do you think that the people in power right now in this country are smarter than you? Do you think the top 3 people in this country, right? Quite frankly, I don't know that I know anybody that is not smarter, more rational than those 3. Now, maybe they know more because of their background. Maybe they've been enveloped in this corrupt life for such a long time that, yeah, they know things that exist out there that you have no clue about. Now, does that make us ignorant of it? Sure. We are ignorant of it because we haven't been thrown into that life. It takes a certain individual that wants to get in there and run for the Senate, or be a representative, or run for president. I mean, it takes a special kind of I don't know. I mean, I think there are some people that go in there and do it for good, but there's not very many. And I think that I would say that most of the individuals in there probably did get into it to try and do good, right? But you're inevitably going to become corrupt. It's only a matter of time. That's what they do. And I mean, that's why the whole thing is so screwed up. To sit here and say that everybody can say term limits of this and that and the other thing. When you put individuals in a position where they get everything and the other, 85% get, here's what you get, here's what we're giving you, and we're taking this. Look at what's going on with the whole Biden thing right now. The New York Post, now these news companies they're having to come out and eat crow because, and like Twitter, they shut down the New York Post feed when they announced this story about the laptop from hell. And they told the New York Post, well, you can still post it, but what we need you to do is withdraw the original post and then you can repost it. And they said, fuck you. We put it out there. We're not going to withdraw it. We're not going to sacrifice our integrity. And that was a stand-up move by the New York Post. A lot of respect. It's the oldest publication. It's the oldest paper in this country, founded by Alexander Hamilton, which is kind of funny because all you liberal people out there love going to see the Hamilton play, right? But yet the newspaper that broke the Hunter Biden, even though that was founded by, Hamilton, your hero, it's good enough for, the Broadway play. But the newspaper he founded, no. And now that, now you got these dickheads, they're sitting there like that stupid, phony CNN, and they're all stumbling all over themselves, trying to walk it back, trying to do damage control. The damage is done. I hope you all see that. The damage is done. You can't believe a word of what any of these people are saying. Anybody in a position of authority in this country is full of shit. It doesn't matter. They're full of shit. They want to talk science. They want to talk this, that, and the other thing. Well, look at the gaffes and mistakes that have been made in just the last 2.5 years. And then walk it back a half a century. Let's take it back to Vietnam. Let's start with the Gulf of Tonkin. That's usually a good frame of reference for me just because that was, not too far before when I was born. And being born in 1976, there were still ramifications of Vietnam that, a lot of that still affected me as a young person, to think about, from reading like the stuff that my grandpa wrote and watching this and that about World War II, I can kind of go back to there too. But you look at like the Gulf of Tonkin. That was the start of the Vietnam War. And look how many lives that cost. Whose lives were lost? Trump didn't go. Bush didn't go. Biden, anybody in that? No. You had a few that went, But then you got to look at it like, those soldiers that went to, that was the draft too back then. It wasn't just, a voluntary enlist. And maybe that's why we've got such a high suicide rate in the returning veterans now, because it is a voluntary deal, and they go over there and they realize what they got themselves into and what's really going on, and they understand, like when they get back, that what they participated in was something completely different than what they thought. Something completely different than what the recruiter told them. And I remember watching those guys in high school when they'd show up, those recruiters would show up and they'd sit there in the front of the high school and they'd have their little desk and walk by and it was like they were trying to sell you snake oil, Hey, you want to take the SVAB? What are you going to do when you graduate? And I just always walk by and look at them and like, yeah, no way. Not going to do it. Not that I don't love my country. I do. I love this country. I love the people. I don't love, a lot of things that it stands for right now, especially. I don't like a lot of the things that it stood for from the inception. I think that there was a good framework of ideas, but I think it was one of those do as I say, not as I do type deals. Because when you're writing these documents out and you still own people, that's pretty hypocritical. When you write documents that say, all men are created equal, yet you own people. mean, that's an idea that I can get behind. That all men and women, we're not created. There's no equality. Okay, you can treat people with respect, and you can treat people with kindness. But let's be honest. Everybody's got different qualities. That's why we do different things. That's why I'm good at carpentry and painting and, things with my hands. That's why you might be you might be a great doctor or an attorney or, what have you. Teacher, any number of things. A good salesperson, whatever. A good mechanic. I mean, we all have different qualities. And that's what makes, the world what it is. If we all were just the same with them, what if we were all just bakers? We can treat one another with respect. We can treat one another with kindness. But to say that we are equal, by definition, that's not the case. The only thing that we have is our humanity that is equal. But we all have different skill sets. We all have different things that we excel at. We have different things that we're no good at. For example, I remember taking a stupid test to go to college, right? With reading comprehension, and I can't even think of there was 4 main groups, but 2 of them were science and math, and I was horrible. It took me until well into my 30s before algebra even started to make any sense to me, because I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I could do applied mathematics. I was great with geometry, because I was always building stuff and angles and shit like that work for me because it's applied. I can see it. I can use it. I can, But when you start writing X's and Y's and parentheses and shit like that, and you've got intangibles and this and that and integers and all that, I was just like, when am I going to use this? But the funny thing is yes, I have used it, the Pythagorean theorem. I use that all the time. And people don't get it. They're like, wait. How did you figure out how did you get the area of that triangle like that? You just, it was like all you did was measure the length of the bottom part. I'm like, yeah. A squared plus C squared equals B squared, dude. But that makes sense. So the idea of equality, it's not... I get it that we're created equal. We're created with an innate humanity, okay. But we're also different. That you can't say equality. You can say humanity. I think. And don't start calling me racist or anything like that, because that has nothing to do with it. We'd all just have different qualities, There's a ton of people that I know that have different qualities than me, and a lot of them that I envy. And I'm sure there's maybe vice versa. I don't know. There was a time where I could hit a ball with a stick pretty good. Whoopee shit. Now I just talk. But anyways, so what I'm getting at is, don't be scared of anything in this life, because it's fleeting. It's gone before you know it. And there's just, there's no reason to live scared. Like my boy Tweet used to say in the joint, he'd say, hey, scared money makes no money. And if y'all know what that means, then you know what I'm saying. Scared money makes no money. Be fearless, Be fearless. So next thing we're going to get into, and the reason I started this show off with that song, and the name of the song was Bird Flu. Okay? So there's a lot of things out there going on that we don't know a lot about. Before I get into that, I want to bring up a number that's scary that I found tonight. Okay. Consumer credit in the month of February was at just shy of $42 billion. And in the month of February, revolving credit, now that's your credit card debt, right? That's your credit card. That's revolving debt is you get a $10,000 limit. You use it up, you pay it off, you get the $10,000 credit limit back, right? It's not car loans. It's not a mortgage. That's not a business loan or anything like that. It's basically your credit card debt. So it rose 20.7% in February, and it was a 4% rise in January. Now, why did that happen from January to February? That's a pretty crazy increase to go from 4% to 20.7%. If that's not a heads up, I don't know what is. I mean, what that means is that this inflation has caused people to up their credit limits, and they're living on credit cards now. They're not just holding on to a credit card for an emergency situation or something that you take with you on vacation, in case you want to stay that night at the Venetian in Vegas or whatever. Or, whatever you may choose to do, it's not like you're holding on to that for some kind of a emergency or special situation. People are living off that now. I mean, to go from 4% one month to 20.7, that's a bad number. And like I'd spoken earlier, that when the CD rates go from, you get paid more out. If you invest in a CD right now, you're going to get a higher return if you cash out on that thing at 6 months than you will if you cash out on it a year. Now that's a pattern. When that happens in history, we are on the brink of a recession. And I think we're already in it, to tell you the truth. We just haven't realized it yet. So that was something I wanted to mention. We've got the supply chain thing still hasn't been solved, no matter what the Biden administration wants to say. The rail lines Union Pacific, I believe it was either I want to say it was Union Pacific or the other one. One of the major rail companies pulled out of Los Angeles because they're picking up containers of goods from the Long Beach port, and as they're going through LA, people are jumping on there with bolt cutters, and they're just lopping off the bolts or the locks, which they don't put big heavy duty ones on there, and it really doesn't take much to get through a stupid master lock anyways. I mean, I got a set of lock picks. I can sit there and pick the thing before I got to cut it, but that's just me. But, guy jumps up there, cuts the thing, just starts chucking boxes out. I mean, it's crazy looking out there. So they've said, screw it, we're not doing it anymore. I mean, because ultimately it's their liability. I mean, when you're a company and you say you run a trucking line, you go and you pick something up for a customer, right? I mean, your insurance now, you have to have that shit insured when it's in one of your trucks, right? I mean, if you're in a big trucking company and your guys are picking stuff up from the port, well, you're the one responsible for those goods from the time it gets picked up until it's dropped off and delivered and accounted for. I mean, so how is, how's Union Pacific or, what was it, Burlington, Northern Santa Fe? I mean, when you just keep losing, I can't even imagine what their insurance policies have done, And then we've got mask and test, shortages. And I mean, I was watching a video of it, and I mean, they're showing all these boxes of N95 masks, COVID tests, just laying on the side of the trains. The trains are just pushing through boxes. I mean, it's crazy footage to watch. I think I've played it on here before, but I mean, that's where, has anybody ordered anything and not had it show up? I mean, I have. And I mean, I've got something coming from China right now, and I'm worried that it's not going to show up. And we'll see what happens. But the last few things I've ordered from over there, it's just, I mean, this is crazy to watch this. I mean, the train line is just absolutely littered with this stuff. It's just crazy. Yeah, check this out. Look at that. Look at all that. LAPD. Yeah. Look at that. That's your stuff. That's your stuff that you ordered. I think my Kobe Bryant jersey is somewhere out there. And I never got reimbursed for it. Look at that. I mean, that's what's going on. Crazy, huh? So we not only have that going on, okay, um, which is going to, that's going to contribute to inflation. I mean, when people aren't getting their stuff, I was trying to explain this stuff to my son, like last night, about how, pumping more money into something makes it worth less. He had a hard time understanding it until I kind of broke it down to him. So anyway, when 20.7% we go up in revolving credit in the month of February, that's nuts. The recession's imminent if it's not already here. Supply chains, you just saw that. All right. So when we are getting the stuff off these ships, that's what's happening. People are quitting their jobs. You've got plenty of jobs. Everybody's, there's so many jobs. Nobody wants to work. Well, who the hell is going to go out there and work for the same fucking wage when fuel is costing you upwards of $7 a gallon in places? Who's going to go out and work for $15 an hour? You gotta be kidding me. Do you work an 8-hour day at $15 an hour, and then you get hit with your taxes too, and giving you a tax break? They're still getting their tax money, and they're taking that fucking money and they're sending it over there to Ukraine. We're gonna spend it all on what? Replacing a bunch of fucking, I don't even want to say the word, MiG fighters with brand new F-16s. That's on your dime. That's on my dime. We're sitting here struggling. We're sitting here eating ramen noodles, trying to not drive any place. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying not to drive my truck. I'm probably going to go back to driving my old 85. Just because it's a gasser and it does get a little better gas mileage than that goddamn diesel. And, we're looking at being back down in the 20s here next week. We're going to be at we're going to hit close to 70 degrees today. Tomorrow's going to be up to 60. And then by Monday, we're going to be 22, 23 degrees again. So if I drive my diesel around, I got to go start that thing up. Just to drive across town and back, it's costing me $10. And this is a little town. This is a 10,000 person town. It's not 7 minutes from anywhere. By the time, because you can't just fire up a diesel and just take off. You got to let it warm up. Not too long, but a little bit. You don't want to wet stack it. But if you don't drive a diesel, you don't know what I'm talking about. But you're going to have electric trucks coming here soon, so don't worry about that shit. There's a lot of things that are going on right now. That's, 70% of the middle class right now can't afford a medium-sized home. 58% have gone through some kind of a undesired weight change during this whole pandemic thing. Right? People are drinking more. People are using more drugs. You've had more overdoses. Things are, people are depressed. 90% or 96% of Americans are just struggling. 96% of us are struggling. That's you. That means there's 4% that aren't. There's 700 people of the most, wealthy in this country that came up. And I know I keep citing that number, but they came up 54% in this whole thing. That's because they had the money to leverage it. And these are the people that short stuff. They figure out where people, they basically capitalize on people's misery, And I guess if you're in that position and you're okay with living with yourself with doing it, then hey, I guess. But the thing is there's going to be a reckoning for it at some point in time, one way or another, because like the old song said, what goes up must come down, and I feel like if you're the type of individual that is going to sit there and capitalize on, the misfortune and the misery of others, there's a special place for you, and you definitely got something coming to you, that's why I don't feel I don't feel sorry for a lot of these fools that end up having an implosion like Will Smith. I don't wish them ill, but when you sit there and you laugh at a joke and then you realize that your wife that you're having problems with or whatever's going on in their personal life, I don't give a fuck. I don't know. But you're laughing and then you look over and you see that grimace on her face and then you decide, okay, now I'm going to show everybody what, and then you get up and you go slap a dude. Nah, man. Whatever. That's nonsense. I saw that the Paul brothers were going to put up like $40 million for them to get Chris Rock and Will Smith to get in the ring. Can you imagine Chris Rock getting in the ring with Will Smith? The dude played Muhammad Ali, and he did it. You could tell he got in that shape. He looked, in that movie, he looked like Muhammad Ali. Like he had that kind of, that size. He had that quickness, but he had that little bit of that baby fat like Muhammad Ali did. He never was like, Muhammad was never like super chiseled, but he was a big man, and he was quick, and you do that rope-a-dope shit. He was a hell of a fighter. But that'd be funny. Like Chris Rock's going to agree. Come on. 51% of the people in this country think we're already in a recession. We've got bizarre theft going on. People are stealing fuel out of other people's gas tanks. They're like going around with like coffee cans and shit and a drill and crawling up under people's cars and drilling in the gas tank and stealing their fuel. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine this? You're a single parent. You're living in an apartment. You're barely keeping it together. Right? You got a quarter tank of gas left, right? You're trying to make that last as long as you can till payday, maybe, because of how expensive it is. Say you got a young child, you got to take that kid to daycare. You're paying for that. You go out there, you load the kid up, you go in and start your car. Nothing. What the fuck? No. Say you're a single mother. Most single mothers that not gonna know even how to get under the car and look. And most of those cars anymore that people drive, you can't even get under the damn thing without a jack because they're so low to the ground. They're not gonna realize it, so they're gonna end up calling a tow truck, paying $200 whatever to get it to a fucking to a mechanic. Mechanic's gonna rip them off. Warranty on the car just expired. Don't have nothing but liability insurance, whatever. Another bill, just what you fucking need, right? But then you got to think of the person that's out there stealing the fucking gas. They got no way to get anywhere, so that's what they're resorting to. Now, I don't think that that's ever fucking right. If you ain't got the money for the gas, I don't know. That's a tough one, and that's what's going to start happening. But things like that are going to start happening. People are going to start stealing from others to get by, because when it comes down to, it's fight or flight, sink or swim. That's human nature. And then you've got these corporations and you've got this government. They've caused this. We didn't cause this. That's why I have that one card that rolls through at the start that says, you are not the problem. We are not the problem. We're the solution, and we know what to do. We know how to run. We know how to make this country run without all this bullshit. That's what upsets me, I think, more so than anything. That's why I get wound up about it, because I know that just like I do, that the collective we, the you, the me, the us, we know what we need to do. We know what we need to do to get the things that we need, to produce the things that others need. We don't need somebody telling us how to do it and stealing from us at the same time. We are being stolen from daily. And we have been our whole lives. The amount of money you pay in federal income tax in your entire life it's spent by the government like that, a fraction of a second, on things you never approved of, things you never voted on, things you never said okay to, but because you voted Democrat or Republican on that fucking stupid ballot, without thinking about it, that's what you got. You think we live in a democracy. We don't. You don't have a say. I don't have a say. But I'm here to tell you, though, that we do. We're just not using it because we're complacent and we're comfortable. And even though shit's hitting the fan right now, there's still a portion of people that are just going to ride it out and they ain't going to say anything. Well, that's why I'm sitting here saying something. Because this is what life is about. That's what pisses me off. We should all be able to do what makes us happy. We should all be out there living our lives the way we want to. And being content, being at peace, and not killing one another. And ain't nobody should be living in, a bad part of town. Kids should not be raised up in areas where they got no choice but to resort to the gang or drug use or prostitution. Everybody should get a decent education. I'm not saying, the same education. I mean, we need to revamp the education system because you can't teach every kid the same. Like I was talking earlier, we all have different qualities. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. We need to accentuate our strengths, and we need to, gain momentum with our strengths. And then the things that we're not so good at, there's others that are. And so we pick one another up in those ways, right? But what they're doing right now is everybody's getting beat down, kicked down. We're being divided even more and more and more. This race shit that's going on. Everything is race. It's not. It's not. Tell me you got problems out there with somebody from another race in your daily life. Do you? And you're not manufacturing it? Come on. I know people from every different background you can imagine. I don't got a problem with a single one of them. None of them have a problem with me. We're people. We're human beings. We're friends. We people I know there isn't a single, I'll do anything for anybody if I can. And I get burned. Whatever. Get burned for some money, big deal. It's just money. And everything. Although we make it into everything. And that's what stresses us out. And that's what causes people to make bad decisions. I mean, when you're stressed about money and when you're stressed about bills, that's what causes you to make a bad decision. So it caused me to make a bad decision when I did. And it cost me a lot of time. I would not have done that had I not been completely in financial, I worked my ass off too. It's not like I didn't work. I worked my ass off and I still didn't have the money because I was getting soaked so bad for child support that I was literally, as a grown-ass man working on the road every week on a construction crew, I'm walking away every single week with $140 to go out and work on the road. Now, how far do you think that gets a motherfucker when he's got bills to pay, rent to pay, and then you got to go live on the road where you got to go out to eat and shit? And they're taking so much from you because you're a man. And I had what would be considered a good job back then, before I went away. It wasn't great. I was making 15, 17, but whatever the fuck it was, Had I got my money, it would have been all right. But when you're getting hit up and you get your paycheck every week and that's what you get, and then you got to go on the road and you're not going home. You're living in a hotel, shit's expensive out there. And then you still got to pay your phone bill, your rent, power bills, you got to put gas in your fucking truck, $140. And that's what they soak you for because you're a man. There's your gender equity right there, huh? I want to talk about equity. That's bullshit. They just take you for everything. Then you go to prison and they fucking keep the goddamn ticker running the whole way and you come out and they say, oh, you owe $50,000 in child support. And you come out with a bucket of paintbrushes, a beat up truck, and a fucking $100 bill. That's what I got put through. And there's many men out there that have been through the same goddamn thing. And that ain't fucking right. It ain't right that they break you for that, how you supposed to take care of other people when you can't even, I was living under a bridge for a while before I went away. I was literally living under a fucking bridge. I was homeless. Fucking Tyler and I both were. Both admitted we were both living under the fucking Corbett Bridge. That's where we fucking laid our head at night. I was under a goddamn bridge in Cody, Wyoming. Pretty stupid place to be homeless, man. Should have gone south, at least someplace where it was warm. But I've been there. I've lost it all. I've been there, had it all taken away. Come back with nothing. and things have worked out all right, but I don't know how things are going to work out too well for any of us at this point in time unless we do something about it. I mean, we know how to go out there and pump oil. We know how to go out there and do what we need to do. We know how to produce the goods that we need. We don't need to rely on China. We don't need to get our stuff from overseas. We got everything we need right here at home. And the biggest thing that we need is each other. That's the biggest thing that we need. We need to put down this division. We need to put down this Democrat, Republican, this, you're a Trumpster, you voted for Biden, you do bullshit. Because at the end of the day, through it all, if you sat down and you talked to that person that voted for Joe Biden, or you talked to that person that voted for Donald Trump, guess what? You're not going to have that big of a difference. You sit down and you talk to the gay couple that lives up the street from you. If you go up there and you sit them down and you show them the quote unquote don't say gay bill that doesn't say gay in it anywhere, it's a 7-page bill and it's got one section, two sections, two sentences really, that basically say that public schools are not to teach anything to do with, gender identity or sexual orientation to 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. I've talked to people I know that are gay. They got no problem with that whatsoever. They agree with it. I've talked to gay teachers that I know. They got no problem with it. They agree that 5, 6, and 7-year-olds should not be taught that. They should be learning how to count. They should be learning their ABCs. Having nap time, snack time, going out to recess, playing, who knows, they probably can't even play tag anymore. Can't say you're it. That's, I'm sure there's some kind of something about that. If you call somebody it, then I don't know, it's probably an unacceptable pronoun or something. Kids can't be kids. I mean, who in their right mind is going to sit there and tell me that it's okay to sit there and talk to a kindergartner about, gender identity or sexual orientation? I mean, you got a 5-year-old boy in your class that likes to play with, who cares, likes to play with dolls. You don't have to sit there and talk to him about it. Just let the kid play with the damn dolls. Whatever. The kid's going to figure it out. That's something for parents to talk to children about, not teachers. I mean, they have our kids for 8 hours a day, and then the thing that drives me nuts, they send them home with homework. Now, why the fuck can't they get that shit done in the classroom? Why they got to come home with homework? We're talking about children here. That's enough. Who goes home with homework? As a business owner, yes, I have homework all the time. But I do different things. I wear many hats, and I've chosen to do that. I don't punch a clock for anybody because I don't like doing it. I don't like the idea of going and looking busy all day and just, going through the same drudgery of, got to be here at 8 o'clock. It's fucking Monday. And, you got to name it. That's hump day. TGIF. You just sit there on Friday and the last hour of that day drags by so fucking slow. You just want to stab yourself in the eye with a pencil, You get out of there and just run, Run like an antelope, like the Fish song. And then before you know it, it's Sunday night and you're sitting there and you're watching, the late Sunday night games in there and going, God damn it. Fellas, I got to get home. I gotta go see the old lady. I gotta get up and go to work tomorrow. They're in the same boat. If you do decide to stay out with your buddies for a while later than you usually do, then you wake up Monday morning, start the week off there, the work week. Who needs that shit? Who needs it? I mean, gotta get that 40 in, get that paycheck. Everybody's got their lifestyle fashioned around the 40-hour work week, what they're making, exactly what they can spend on what. It's all regimented, Get your bedtime. You go to work. You're subordinate to, some jerk off like that guy on Office Space, like Lumberg. Dress code, sitting in a cubicle. I mean, maybe for some people that's all right. I ain't flying that way. Not ever again. I did that I didn't do the cubicle thing for long. enough of that. But, I'm not punching the clock for anybody. I don't care. I mean, comes down to it, you're going to have to serve somebody. But at least you can pick and choose who it is. But, the whole self-employment thing isn't for everybody either. The world needs janitors too. Custodians, dick. Sorry. Custodians. Sanitation engineers. But hey, some people like doing that. Look at Stanley Spadowski from UHF. We talked about him the other night. Okay, so here's the next thing. I mean, we're talking about poverty. It's exploding. Corporations are making money. Here's the big thing that you're not hearing about. And this is why I played that song to open this episode called Bird Flu. It's the avian flu, okay? H5N1, all right? This thing it's taken off. It's hit here in Wyoming. It's hit 17 states, okay? It's bad. There's been 317 outbreaks of this avian flu, okay? So here's the thing. It's not necessarily that transmissible between the birds and humans. However, if one of these big chicken or turkey, I guess you call them farms. I want to say ranch because it's meat, but chicken farm, turkey, if one of those birds tests positive for the H5N1 virus, they have to put down all those birds. They got to euthanize them all. Now, think about what happens when, chicken and turkey is about the one thing most people can afford right now because the price of fucking beef is just absolutely ridiculous. This is going to cause a big shortage. It's going to cause a huge shortage. I mean, this is just in the first few weeks of 2022. I mean, it's 317 outbreaks in 25 countries. This is worldwide. There's no human cases, but 20% of the cases are right in South Dakota. It's just one state away from here. And you got 2.8 million turkey and chickens that they've killed, that they've had to euthanize. Okay, this also hits you on milk and eggs, so people get ready because milk and egg prices are going to go through the fucking roof. They've already found one outbreak of this shit in Wyoming, North Carolina, Ohio, South Dakota, Oklahoma. They just had an outbreak of it. Almost 50% of the United States has had the shit. So, as of today, the number went up. It was 17 million chickens and turkeys have been basically euthanized. I mean, 8.2 million birds killed in Iowa alone, which is the largest producer of eggs. Eggs are going to be through the roof. You're not going to be able to afford them. We're almost out of eggs. And I'm going to go tomorrow and I'm going to buy the big, huge, I think I buy the big boxes, like 70 eggs. Because my kid loves eating them. But I looked in the fridge tonight and we only got 3 left. So that's what I'm going to be doing first thing this morning. I'll probably go do that first thing as soon as Walmart opens, go out there and get a big box of those things just so we have some because it's going to go through the roof. But think about it. Excuse me. Everything else that's gone bad. It's gone sideways. Now we got bird flu. Now, I'm not too positive on with everything that happened. I'm not putting anything out there. I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm not saying that in any way would this avian flu have anything to do with something that's been orchestrated or put out somewhere. I wouldn't make that suggestion because I don't want to have my YouTube station taken down again. And I wouldn't think that anybody would be behind something like that. Just like I wouldn't think that the people that we pay to, head up the CDC and the WHO, they would never do anything sideways. They would never develop a virus in a lab or use taxpayer money to do something like that. That's just crazy to even think that. It's crazy. It's conspiratorial and it's nuts. And to think that maybe somebody would do something like that with one of our biggest food sources, I mean, come on. There's not any kind of evil like that out there in the world, is there, people? No. No, of course there's not. You're just nuts if you think that. let's not be conspiratorial about anything here. It's just, we just have to understand that what the government has going is that they've got our best interest in mind. You know, they've got our votes because in good faith we've picked the right people to do the right thing for all of us, haven't we? And if you just keep telling yourself that, then it's all going to work out just fine. Bird flu, no flu, whatever, swine flu, hey, these are things that happen in nature. It happens. And I mean, you're not going to have no more bacon and eggs. Probably won't have any more bacon. Eggs are going to be done. We can't drive anywhere to get any of it anyway, so we're all going to be riding around on bicycles. But that's going to be if we can afford the electricity to use I guess we can use a hand pump to pump up our bike tires. We're going to be taking 2 pieces of flint rock and, knocking them together, fighting over firewood. People are going to start rustling cattle. That's where it's going. And for you folks that live in the city, I mean, I got a little advice for you. I would get you to poop in a group. I'd figure out a strategy. I'd get your bug out bags ready. I'd figure out where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. I'd figure out how to protect you and your family. I'd start stocking up. Fill up the fuel cans. Remember to put stable in that gasoline. It'll make it last a lot longer and you can use it. You leave a gas can sitting there for too long and then you're going to have sour gas, and, bad gas travels fast in a small town. Does even worse when you're out there trying to get somewhere in a BMW or something and you got bad gas in that thing. Get you a generator. Learn how to use it. Get some emergency radios. Stock up on canned food, dry food. There's a site that you can go to where you can, I'll have to put that on a link, where you can, you should have at least 30 days worth of food for everybody in your family. At least. And 30 days worth of cash, because after 30 days, it ain't going to be worth anything anyway. And I think that's part of the whole deal. Anyhow, is that, by the time the shit hits the fan, you there's going to be like, depression days where you'll be rolling in with a wheelbarrow full of money and you ain't going to be able to walk out of there with a loaf of bread. I mean, these people keep putting these spending bills through, and we've already gone beyond it. Like I always say, we're just like the people in Indonesia in 2004 when that tsunami hit and that water got sucked out of there. And the people are standing down there on the beach on the wet sand looking around at each other like, where'd the water go? Well, they found out. And we're about ready to find out too, I think. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm not even anywhere in the same. I hope I'm not even in the vicinity of what's going on. I really do. But we got to wise up. We got to wake up, and we got to do what we need to, what we know how to do. What we, we're innovative people. When the chips are down, I have no doubt in the American people that we can do what needs to be done, and we don't need these other people telling us what we can and we cannot do. We know what we need to do. We know how to make this country run. We know how to do what we need to do to take care of our families, to take care of each other, to take care of our communities, to do the right thing, to be right to each other, to care about one another, to pick each other up when we fall down. We know how to do that, but we've allowed ourselves to be so distanced from that reality and be so paranoid of everybody around us, and this person's that, and he wears that hat, and he's got that yard sign, and he's got that bumper sticker, and I hate, who gives a shit how somebody else voted? Mind your business. You'll live longer. It don't matter. Stop voting for any of them. That's the best answer. Just walk away. Walk away from it. If we were all just do that, just say, you know what? Just give them the old, nanny boo-boo. We're going to go drill oil. We're going to open their refinery up. We're going to We're going to start doing what we do. I mean, and it comes all the way from Wall Street, you know? I mean, follow the money. And that's what it's all about. You got a percentage of this country and this world that has this thirst for money. And they don't understand what I was talking about at the start. We're all going to die. That's what we have in common. So all you rich asshole oligarchs out there that think that you got the whole world by the coattails because you got some money, I tell you what, when it comes book at Eli time, it's going to be funny because you're going to be lunch meat. Because all y'all out there, when the money ain't worth a thing, what do you got? You got no ability to survive. Good luck in them little loafers. You'd be begging me, you'd be offering me whatever, any bit of money you have for my pair of fucking cowboy boots. I'll be stepping right on. Bye. Going on by you with my pack and whatever else I got. Cans of gas on the side of my dirt bike or my truck and trailer loaded with everything. I mean, I got an enclosed trailer that we can live out of, you know. And the means and the know-how to do it. People in the city don't have a clue. No clue. I mean, when it gets down to it, I don't know. It's going to be tough. Especially if you talk about, you know, power outages, people losing their phones, the internet, and everything. It's going to lose your mind. People are going to go absolutely nuts in the cities. It's going to be insanity. I mean, you can't use that debit card at the gas pump, and the damn interstates are just piled up, and people are going to go crazy. They already are going crazy. Let's stop going crazy, huh? How about that? Let's like come up with a new slogan. I don't know. I'll try and put that together. I mean, we got to return to some kind of a semblance of you know, being normal again. We're so stupid right now. It's just absolutely ridiculous. The things that you see, and you get, I mean, how many weeks is it? What has it been? A week, 2 weeks since somebody slapped somebody else? And I mean, every time I pull the thing up, it's there's something about that. And what's sad is that the people that even the journalists that I like to pay attention to and I like to watch, even they're talking about the whole slap thing, slapsgiving. Who cares? Offering these guys $40 million to fight. I mean, come on, what kind of nonsense is that? Think about what you, I mean, hey, Jake, Logan Paul, I know y'all cats are rolling in it and you're fat with the dough and everything, but you guys live out there in LA, right? Why don't you take that $40 million and go out and do something for the homeless people, huh? If you got $40 million to spend on to promote a fucking fight, how about you take that money out there and you do some good with it? Just a thought. Just a thought. Instead of offering two jerk-offs that already have more money than they're ever going to need in their life, $40 million to go have a slap fight with each other or whatever. You guys do that. That's what you do. You guys go out there and fight with each other. Stupid. Come on. You know, if there's something good that could be done with money other than stockpiling it and being greedy with it, maybe you should do that. I know if I had enough cheese to offer somebody $40 million to fight, then I'd have enough money to take $40 million and go out to, you know, the streets of Seattle, Portland, Los Angeles, New York City, any place where people are struggling, Phoenix, Arizona, any place where people are having a hard time, do whatever, you know, even if it's giving people a fucking hotel room for a week or something, just, you know, I mean, and you see a politician like Maxine Waters sitting there, you got people out there and she tells a group of homeless people to go home. And one lady says, we ain't got no home. That's why we're out here. And she gets offended. Maxine Waters gets offended and says, she even cussed at him. She's like, you know, who do you think is out there speaking up for you? Yeah, right, Maxine Waters. Speaking up for anybody except your own damn self. I mean, she is absolutely just a horrible human being. Absolutely horrible. I mean, she invoked people to violence, you know, I mean, and then tells the homeless to go home. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? How do you do that? How do you tell the homeless people? I mean, that's absolutely incredible to me. I mean, that's how out of touch these people are. Look at this. I'm going to play this for you right now. This is Maxine Waters. She's going to tell a group of homeless people to go home. All right. I'm going to pull this up. We're going to watch a little. This is another one of your wonderful elected officials right here, okay? I mean, you want to talk about a real piece of work, just a real peach. Let's pull this down here. Everybody see that? All right. Actually, Water's worst moments. And let's get a little volume. And here we go with one of your elected leaders here. This is some real compassion and some love for fellow human beings right here. Thank God no home. That's why we're here. Now she's laughing. Go somewhere else. Oh, she made him come out there. She doesn't want to hear it. Oh boy, here we go. Oh my God. Jeez. Oh boy. I can't even watch any more of this woman. She's just absolutely, she's been out of her damn mind for so long. Why do you all, Californians, why? Why do you keep voting for her? Why do you keep voting for Pelosi? Pelosi got COVID now. And I don't wish any harm on her. I don't wish any harm on any of these people. I just want them to go away because they're not doing a damn thing for anybody. That Maxine Waters has not done anything but for herself. She doesn't care, and it's not about black and white, brown, Asian. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. It's like, are you doing the job that you're supposed to do? I mean, she's a representative. We live in a representative republic. She's supposed to be representing those people that she was just telling, that she was so insensitive and disconnected from, that she's sitting there and telling homeless people to go home. And then the lady says, we can't go home. We don't have no home. That's why we're here. And then she starts laughing. These are the people that you're electing, folks. This is what we're putting it behind, right? This is it right here. This is the garbage. And you're going to keep doing it? You're going to put the sticker on to say, I voted, and prance around like you really did something? You know, I'm sorry. I'm not singling anybody out, but you know what? The majority of the United States voter are uninformed. They know nothing about the issues. They know nothing about what's going on. Do you know how many times during the day I talk to somebody? I'm lucky to run into somebody that even knows what the fuck I'm talking about most of the time, and I'm an idiot. But for the most part, I'm just running my mouth for no reason because nobody even understands what I'm saying. They look at me like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, people don't know what Title 42 is. They don't know the ramifications of that. You know, people don't understand what's going on down at the southern border. People don't know what's going on with supply chain. None of the stuff that I talk about, most people, there's a handful of you all out there that listen to the show that know. Or if you didn't before, then you've paid some attention and you've started doing your own homework. And that's what I want people to do, is just do your homework. I just want to see people do their fucking homework. Like, figure it out. See what's going on. Watch what's happening. You know, you're having your life stolen from you by these people that are literally just, they don't care about you. They try and act like they do, and then they pit you against one another with this whole race bait shit. Everything's race. Everything is, you got kids up there screaming and screeching about the "Don't Say Gay" bill when there's nothing about saying gay. There's not, the word "gay" is not even in the goddamn bill. I pulled it up the other night on the podcast. And I read through it. I showed it to y'all. It's real easy to find. All you got to do is get online. It's 7 pages. I mean, if you can read fucking Paddington Bear or Winnie the Pooh, you can read this bill and you can see that the only thing it's about is parents being informed about what's going on with their children. And then there's one paragraph that says that kids K through 3rd grade are not to be inundated with anything to do with, gender identity or sexual orientation, which I think that we would all agree that at 5, 6, and 7 years old, that's probably not a conversation we need to be having with our children. Do we need to have that conversation with our children at some point in time? Certainly we do. But when they're of an age where they can understand it. I mean, kids don't have an attraction towards the opposite sex until, I don't even, 5th grade, mate, 4th, 5th grade, girls have cooties, boys are just, and this perception that we've got this majority of the population that falls under the alphabet of, and I'm not trying to be rude, I just can't keep up with it. The last time I saw it, now it used to be whatever it was, and now there's a IA something on the, I don't know. It's no disrespect towards anybody, okay? I don't care if you're gay, if you're trans, if you're queer, if you're a furry. I don't care. I don't care. I'm friends with everybody. It doesn't matter to me. I don't judge anybody based on that. But to say that it's something that you're going to throw a fit about because a state says that shouldn't be discussed in the classroom in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade. I mean, really? And then you're going to listen to what the media declares the bill to be, right? So they come up with this fancy, this little slogan. And then you see the likes of like fucking that idiot from Sons of Anarchy, that fucking Ron Perlman, get up there and call DeSantis a Nazi pig and all this. And it didn't, there was nothing in there about saying, there was nothing in there. It said kids in the classroom, grades K through 3, that basically the lesson plans shouldn't be anything about, sexual orientation or gender identity. I mean, prove me wrong. Tell me that 5-year-olds should be taught that. Really? I think our education, we rank, despite the fact that we're like voted like the top education system on the planet or whatever, we are down there low. We're like 32nd in math, like 24th in science. I remember as a kid taking like those IA basic standardized tests, and that was a big thing. Is you had to like, eat your cheese and your brain food and get plenty of sleep because we got to come in with a better test than the Ruskies. This was of course during the Cold War. But what's the point of the stupid standardized tests? Our kids don't know shit. They don't. I had to sit down with my son the other night, and I had to write out 2 index cards, one in cursive, one in print. I said, "Can you read that writing?" And he looked at, people see my writing and I'm not trying to brag about anything. I saw my grandfather's writing when I was a young kid. And I was so impressed with when I saw his signature for the first time and realized what it was. And I think I was like in 2nd grade. Like I said, I was so enamored by I was like, whoa, how'd you do that? My son can't write anything. His handwriting, and he told me his handwriting is better than most of the kids he's in. I said, what the hell? And I tried to explain to him the other night. I gave him the 2 index cards. I said, every night I want you to write both these paragraphs, leave them out on the table every night. And I want you to try and get as close to my handwriting as you can. And he looked at me all kind of pissy and shit. And I said, dude, you're going to fucking thank me. You're going to thank me one day when I'm older than I am now. I said, if I get, you're going to go, Dad, thanks for making me do that when I was a kid. You don't understand what that does when you can go into a job interview and you hand in your application that's handwritten. And I've had to, like I said, I've had to prove myself. I've had to rewrite things for, you know, when I turn in different things from time to time. They've gotten, that's not your handwriting. So, yeah, it is. No, it's not. So give me a piece of paper. You know, I mean, that's how we learn, though. Everybody I know, I mean, most people that are my age, we all know how to write. And the thing is when it comes down to it, what are you going to do? We don't know. I mean, any day the whole power grid could fall apart. I mean, the amount of money we're having to spend on all this shit. I mean, something's got to give here. Something's got to give because this can't keep on. We are already basically a third world country right now. Look at the amount of homeless we have. Look at I mean, it was bad. When I came out of prison 9 years ago, most people didn't have $1,000 in the bank. Which, I mean, I saw that stat and went, holy shit. Because it took me like a week and I had a couple grand in the bank. Because I knew how to go out and get some work and you know, piece something together and make some money. But most people don't have, you know, anything to fall back on, and especially now. I mean, I know that I get hit with bills and it's just like boom, boom, boom. I mean, it's just like shit, you know. You go to the grocery store, oh, shit. You go to the gas pump, shit. You know, people are making choices between their medications, keeping their homes heated, feeding their families, putting gas in the vehicle. And we're supposed to be the most prosperous country in the world. We're going down the tanks. I mean, this is Russian Empire. We're 246 years old. We ain't been here that long, and we're not going to be here much longer. We keep this shit up. We keep people like this Maxine Waters. There ain't no reason that woman should ever be in front of a microphone. There's no reason that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Jen Psaki or any of these people should be, you know, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer. None of these people should ever be in front of a microphone. They should not have a say. These are people that should have their pants pulled up over their head and hung on a doorknob. These are people that have no right whatsoever to be up there. They're calling the shots. They put on their suit. They play their little games with each other. They grease each other's wheels. They screw us all over. The 300 plus million of us. And we're just going to sit here and take this shit off these people? It's time to just ignore them. That's what I'm saying. Walk away from it. And do it on a local level. That's all it takes. You know? It's all it takes is some unity. And that's the last thing that's a person like Maxine Waters, that's the last thing she wants to see. She doesn't want to see me and my best friend Joshua in a room together, hanging out, going to Dodger games and kicking it in LA, or him coming out here and kicking it here in Cody Wyman. She doesn't want to see that. That is the most terrifying thing to these politicians, is to see a black man and a white man being friends, hanging out, kicking it, being brothers. But, you know, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're all my brothers and sisters. Not these people, though. These people are not. And I feel bad for them, because I think that, you know, when it's all over for them, they're going to have what's coming to them, and it's going to be a sad ending for them. And, you know, I mean, my thoughts is that the rest of us that try and do right by each other and be right by one another, that you know, our consciousness is just going to change form. We're going to turn in this rental car that we've been riding around in, and we're going to go get you know, maybe we're going to go buy one. Maybe we'll get a lease. Get upgrade. Get enterprise upgrade. Come back as Dolph Lundgren or something. Who knows? All I do know is that the past is gone. Tomorrow hasn't happened, and we can just do something about right now. But it has to start right now. It has to start with you. It has to start with me. All of us. I mean, we got to put these goofy these thoughts and these ideas that we've been, you know, had shoveled down our necks for our entire lives, and understand that there's been a reason. It's all been designed. It's all had a purpose behind it. You know, the shit you were taught in school, it all had a purpose behind it. The shit that you've been taught as an adult, it all had a purpose behind it. The browbeating and the you know, the having, you know, money taken out of your paycheck that you worked your ass off for, and you don't even get They act like it's such an honorable thing to pay your taxes. Well, you didn't go and make that decision to do that. Most of you didn't. And if you are self-employed, then you do everything you can to make sure that you're paying as little as you can, because who wants to give these assholes any more money? They're just going to go bomb brown people with it. They're just going to go spend it on bullshit. They don't even go down to see what kind of humanitarian crisis is going on down there at that border, or what's going to happen. That fucking Biden, he's never even been down there. In 50 years, he hasn't been down there. Then that fucking lying peppermint patty says, oh, he went to Texas in 2008. You idiot, he drove through there. He didn't go to the goddamn border. Kamala says she's been there. She gets called out by Lester Holt or whatever, and she goes, well, I haven't been to Europe either. Yeah, you have. And you went there and you talked about the significance of the passage of time. You see, the thing about the significance of the passage of time is that the significance of the passage of time is very much, it influences the significance of the passage of time. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, then this is a prime reason to do your homework. Because if you don't understand that the Vice President of the United States got up and rambled on and said the significance of the passage of time like 15 times in a row without saying anything at all, maybe it's time to, check it out. Do a little homework. Check out these people that you're throwing your trust in, because you can't trust them straight up. Period. You can trust in yourself, and you can trust in a few other people. You can also trust in me, if you can read that on the side of my hand. But also my hand says less talking, more walking. Here I am babbling on and on. But it's for a purpose. And you can damn sure bet that I walk what I talk. And we'll tell you that. So anyhow, on that note, I'm going to play the rest of that song, Bird Flu. I'd look out to, stock up on some eggs right now if that's something you like eating. I know that we eat a lot of eggs around here, especially with a teenage kid. He eats some damn things, which is fine. It's great food. I don't care what anybody says. And you can be a vegan, whatever. I'll eat your eggs. I don't care. It's all good by me. Let's see if I can find this video again. Hopefully I can pick up where I shut it down. There's Maxine Waters. We don't want to listen to her, do we? Hell no. Maxine Waters, my ass. Oh, did it play all the way through? I think it did. That's all right. We'll find it. All right. Here we go. Brothers Gow. Bird Flu from the Live on Ocean Beach. I believe that was at Winston's. Shout out to my San Diego people too. Robert, Andrea, how y'all doing? Ethan, Kyle, the Alexes, Nate, Carson, Matt Collier, all you cats. Stay up. Be good or be good at it. In all things, be kind. And for God's sake, do no harm. All right. For myself and the Mike Files, 52 miles east of Yellowstone Park in the thriving metropolis of Coyote, Wyoming, I bid you good morning. Have a great Saturday, Sunday. My cousin's going to be here, Cameron, tomorrow. I think we're going to be having another special guest on. I'm not going to go out there and say that right now until we find out for sure, but we'll be coming at you again here from the confines of the Mike Files studio on the Second Fairway. Peace out.